Welcome to Adam's Athenaeum. Let's take a look together through the news and records of our times as we try to shed light upon the unvarnished truth. Thanks for coming back today to listen to this episode where we're going to talk about some of the crazy news coming out of San Carlos, California, about a woman who was beheaded. Now, where do we begin talking about this? Is this a problem that stemmed from culture or a problem that stemmed from immigration? Or is it a problem that stemmed from domestic abuse and violence? Or how about the defund the police movement that has encouraged society to commit crimes because they don't think they'll be caught or punished for the crimes they commit? Well, let's start by going to where I first read about this article. It's from ABC 7. And here they talk about, let's pull it up so you can read along with me. Young California mother beheaded on street identified, and new info released on the man arrested in attack. Let's see here. Let's get down to the meat of the story. So essentially, the female, Karina Castro, was the victim. She was a DoorDash driver, and she has left behind a 7-year-old and 1-year-old daughters. She had the youngest with the man who is now held for her murder, 33-year-old Jose Rafael Solano Landeta. I don't give a crap if I pronounced his name wrong. He's a piece of crap. Now, they also report, this was during an interview with the family, they report that he is a diagnosed schizophrenic on meds, and he would use that as an excuse for his behavior. He drank excessively, and you're not supposed to do that on those kinds of medications. The family confirms what the investigative team learned from law enforcement sources Thursday, that Solano had been violent with Castro, and she got a restraining order against him in April, but continued to interact with him. So again, that's a problem. If you're going to get a restraining order against someone, you need to be serious about it. And I'm not going to preach like I'm on top of a high horse. I mean, if you've got kids with someone, I get it. It's more difficult. It's harder. If you're maybe middle class or lower, it's harder to get out on your own, especially when you got to take kids with you, right? The father said during this interview, if there's somebody out there abusing your daughter, don't take off. Don't let it go. Don't take no for an answer, because you feel responsible no matter what anyone says. I mean, I'm not here to say that the father could have or should have intervened before this, but this man should have been in custody a long time ago. He should have been locked up in jail, and this should have never happened to this young, wonderful mother. As we read on a little bit, forgive me for the language. Go ahead. If you got kids watching, go ahead. We'll give them a few seconds. If you can let them out of the room or whatnot, try to keep it a little family friendly. And when we can, we'll try to give a warning. As the article continues, they start to describe some of the Snapchat messages between the couple. She threatens to tell the world about Solano's criminal record that includes a rape conviction involving a minor. He calls her snitch lip and warns her, fuck around and find out. Castro fires back, you want to put a target on my back? Your homies are going to know the real you, and threatens to expose his sexual relationship with another man. She adds, dude, go ahead, try and take my ass out. Just hours later, they had a confrontation in the street outside her apartment, her daughters safely inside. And that's all I'm going to take from their article for now. I think that was a good summary and synopsis of what happened. So essentially what we can take from this is there was multiple red flags, big warning signs that should have been heeded. I mean, again, I'm not going to try and sit on a high horse. I can't imagine how painful or how much just mental back and forth rigor you have to go through when you're stuck in an abusive domestic violence relationship. But this is just one example of hundreds, if not thousands of videos that I've watched of these things going south. I hate to say it, ladies, but and don't take offense to this. I mean this in a loving guidance kind of a way. Um, need to be a little more. I don't know what's the word. Strict with guys. Like if a guy mistreats you, cut it off. Leave. Period. No excuses. Do whatever it takes. Your life isn't worth it. It'll never be worth your life. Or you can stick around and hope to try to change this man. Perhaps that's the problem with fairy tale stories we all read, is that we think we can change people and make them better. You can't. You cannot change someone else's personality, values, morals. Only they can change it if they find the desire in themselves to change. Disastrous outcomes come from domestic violence, and not just for the two involved. Now these daughters have to grow up without their mother and assumedly their father for the rest of their life. The parents of this young woman, they're devastated. Now they have to live without her for the rest of their lives, and they have to bury their child. That's not right. This happened in a Democrat-run shithole. Surprise, surprise, right? Another Democrat city where major crime happens seemingly regularly, and it gets more and more bizarre every headline that we hear. I mean, California has just been run into the ground. It almost doesn't matter which part of California you're in anymore. Almost every city in California is a hellhole like this. Now, I mentioned earlier that this guy, let's go ahead and pull up this article just so, again, this way we can all see the same thing here. This article was from the Santa Monica Observer.com. Says man who beheaded his girlfriend in San Carlos, California. Domestic attack was in the U.S. illegally. Immigration sources confirm that Jose Solano Landeeta, again, I'm trying to mess your name up because I really don't care about you. The suspect who beheaded a 27-year-old mother of two in a San Carlos, California neighborhood September 8th was in the United States illegally. Josie Solano Landeeta, again, I'm trying to mess your name up on purpose, you're a piece of crap. 33 from Venezuela, entered the country on a tourist visa about 10 years ago, say ICE sources. He never left. Now, what I find interesting about this is it says right here. Now, according to this story, or whoever they're citing, ICE sources have been, communicated with to get some background information on this story. And supposedly, the Immigrations, Customs, and Enforcement knows about this man. They know he has an expired tourist visa, and he's been here for an additional 10. Wait. So if he came here about 10 years ago on a tourist visa, they last, 4 years? So he's been here like 6 years longer than his visa lasted. Yeah, man. You're a great role model for society. You're a great role model for other migrants who want to come here legally and do the process and spend the money and do the courts and learn about the culture of America. Yeah. Yeah, you were a great benefit to society. I'm so glad that ICE didn't deport you. I'm so glad that the federal government thought that you were worth keeping here. This is the problem that people like me, people on the right, have with illegal immigration. The crime that comes across. Obviously, not everyone, or maybe even the majority of people who come across are criminals or intend to commit crime. However, if you're coming here illegally, the first thing you're doing as you enter is becoming a criminal and breaking the law. I have sympathy for the individual. I have sympathy for the situations. But then when I read stories like this, that almost all goes out the window. Why should I allow any illegal immigration when so many illegal migrants have led to stories like this, or drunk driving on highways, killing legal American citizens, natural American-born citizens? I'm tired of this. And this has nothing to do with the people of Mexico or your culture, your language. It has nothing to do about that. This is speaking to the individual, this Josie piece of crap, as I'm going to call him. He deserves to rot in jail. However, he doesn't deserve to rot in our jails. We shouldn't waste another freaking taxpayer dime or dollar on him. Please tell me why we should. I mean, he deserves to be deported. He's one of the prime examples of a migrant who overstayed his welcome, abused, he used, misused, and abused the system that welcomed him so graciously, the people who welcomed him so graciously. And not only did he have a plethora of things going wrong in his personal life and going wrong with his life choices. Once again, we have another criminal who thought it was okay not only to hit a woman, but to kill a woman, to behead her in front of her very own house with her children there, one of whom you are the father of. You're a degenerate, low-life piece of shit. We, the American taxpayers, have suffered you long enough. We don't deserve the hardship of having to pay for you to live out your life in jail or to kill you by lethal injection if that's what the jury of your peers decide. You deserve to be deported, thrown back to Mexico, and left to rot. And if you are ever caught here again, you should immediately be put to death by a trial of your peers. Period. You broke the law once by extending your visa. You broke the law numerous times after that with the relationship with your now dead girlfriend or wife, baby mama. And then you murdered her. You don't deserve another chance. And if you come back, may hell be released upon you within the court systems. Now, is this just California? No, it's not. We've got people in New York City, just last month, I think it was. A young woman in the middle of the day was raped on a subway train. A full subway train. No one did a fucking thing about it. People just watched. I don't even recall that people called the police. They just let it happen. Now, again, some of this comes down to the criminal laws, and are legal, moral, law-abiding citizens allowed to carry in these cities? No, not usually. And does it have an impact on crime? Yeah. When a bad guy can get away with any crime they want to do, and they know that police aren't going to be there to enforce it, the district attorney won't prosecute them to enforce it, and citizens are unarmed, they're going to run rampant and do whatever the hell they want. It's that simple. That's basic common sense. I don't need to go to college to know that. And we're going to continue to allow the criminals to run the streets. Nonstop, 24/7, because of reparations or social justice or equality or some bullshit like this. No, man, what we need to do is get back to a country of law and order, rhyme and reason, where if you do the crime, you do the time, where people are held accountable for their own actions and thoughts. The culture is sick. I've said it many times. The people are sick. This man, obviously, again, they say, this isn't 100% proof yet, but, the woman's parents say that he was on psych meds for schizophrenia. Should have been in a mental hospital if this is how he behaved and this is how he treated women. He should have been locked up in a mental hospital. We need to bring them back. Yes, they need to be more regulated than they were in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Obviously, it needs to be highly more regulated and way more professional. But I'm sick of this. There's so many things we can blame. Domestic violence. Obviously, this man wasn't raised right to know how to treat women. Domestic, he had a child with this woman and he still treated her like that. Still beheaded her in front of people in the middle of the street in broad daylight. Who does that? Sick and deranged sociopaths do that. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with these people being out on the streets. Sick people need to be put into mental institutions. Criminals need to be locked up and the key thrown away when it's time. And we need to quit trying to hold rallies and events and marches and trying to get crowdfunding and support for these victims, or I'm sorry, for the accusers and for their families. Like, they're trying to get money for the man's other children, not the one he had with, this woman that he killed. No, they're trying to raise money for his other children with some other one. That's despicable. I get it. They lost their father. That was his choice. Him and his family must pay the consequences. Sometimes it's just how it is. Sometimes your actions affect those around you and not just yourself. Excuse me, no kidding. My cat might want to come up and say hello. Would you like to come up and say hello to everybody? Hi, everyone. This is Rose. She's my pretty cat. She's my best friend. She likes to come and interrupt sometimes, but she just wants to come say hello. She likes getting face rubs on the camera. But anyway, thanks for coming up and saying hello, Rose. I'm sure everyone's happy to meet you. Please go down. Please be careful. You ready? That's a good girl. Alrighty, everyone. That's where I'll end today's video. I thank you for stopping by and for saying hello to my cat. Again, if you think this message needs to be viewed by others, the other people need to hear about this story and what's going on in society, please share this video, like this video so we can beat the algorithm. Subscribe to my channel so that way you don't miss any of my content, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever I go live. I appreciate you coming back for this episode, and I will see you all next week. Apparently so will Rose. We'll see you then.